Your card gets declined for the third time. You're standing in a business class lounge at Heathrow, champagne in your hand, on a ticket that cost you $11. But first, we have to see how you got here. 6 months ago, you're standing outside a hostel in Chiang Mai with a backpack that smells like a country you can't afford anymore. The card declines again. The woman at the desk doesn't blink. She's seen this before. You've got $14 in cash and a flight home you can't book. You've been traveling for 4 months on a budget built for 2. The math stopped working somewhere around Vietnam, and you never noticed until now. You sit on the curb outside the hostel with your bag between your knees. Your stomach is doing the thing it does when there's no plan left. You open your banking app for the 5th time, like the number is going to change if you look hard enough. It doesn't. $211. A flight home from Bangkok costs $900. That's when you meet him. Older backpacker, maybe 50, boots held together with gaffer tape, sitting against the wall with a laptop that's seen more borders than most passports. He watches you check your account for the 6th time and says one sentence you don't understand yet. You're not broke. You're paying retail. You don't know what that means. He turns the laptop toward you. Spreadsheets, airline logos, numbers with dollar signs next to numbers without them. He tells you the flight you can't afford, someone else is about to fly for free. Not because they're rich, because they read the rules and you didn't. A single credit card sign-up bonus can be worth more than a month of hostel stays. Most people never claim one because most people never apply. The banks want your business badly enough to pay for it. You just have to ask. You don't have a credit card. You don't have credit at all. You have a debit card with $211 left in it and a flight you can't afford. He shrugs. Everyone starts somewhere. He writes down 3 words on a napkin and hands it to you. Sign-up bonus. You spend the next 6 hours in an internet cafe that charges by the hour, reading forums you don't understand, words you've never seen before. Churning, minimum spend, transfer partners. Your eyes hurt. Your coffee goes cold twice. But something in you that's been quietly panicking for 6 hours starts to slow down because for the first time since the card declined, there's a plan that isn't just cutting meals. You apply for your first card from an internet cafe in Chiang Mai using your parents' address back home. Your hands are actually shaking. You've never asked a bank for anything before. The screen spins. Processing. Processing. 10 seconds feels like 10 minutes. Then, approved. A bonus attached to it worth $600 in travel if you spend $2,000 in 3 months. You don't have $2,000. You have $211.
Points are not money. They're a contract airlines and banks write with each other, and you're just the person standing in the middle collecting the difference. One transferable point moved to the right partner can be worth 4 times what it's worth spent directly. Most people never move it. Most people just take the easy option and lose 3/4 of the value without knowing it. You spend the next 3 months doing something you never thought you'd do on a backpacker's budget, chasing spend instead of avoiding it. Every meal goes on the card. Every hostel, every bus ticket. You track it in a notes app like it's a countdown. 1900 of 2000. You eat instant noodles for 4 days straight so the number keeps climbing without your bank account collapsing under it. It's the strangest kind of hunger. You're not broke. You're optimizing. Then the notification comes. Your phone buzzes on the bed of a hostel dorm in Hanoi at 2 in the morning. You don't look at it right away. You've learned that a bank notification at 2 in the morning is never good news wearing a good outfit. You open it. Suspicious activity detected. Your card is frozen. Banks flag foreign spending as fraud by default. It's not personal. It's a bigger number protecting itself from a smaller one. And right now, you're the smaller one. You have $400 of unspent minimums sitting on a card that no longer works, 3 weeks before the deadline, in a country where international calls cost more than your daily budget. You spend the next 2 days in the hostel common room on hold with a call center on the other side of the planet, listening to hold music that loops every 90 seconds. You counted 11 times. Your leg won't stop bouncing. If the card isn't unfrozen before the deadline, the bonus disappears completely, and you lose the only real leverage you have. The old man's napkin is still in your pocket. You take it out and read it again like it's going to say something new. On the 11th call, a human answers. 15 minutes of questions about your mother's maiden name, and the last 4 transactions later, the freeze lifts. You hit minimum spend with 6 days to spare. $600 in travel value,
earned from a card that cost you nothing, sitting in your account like it was always supposed to be there. You don't stop. You can't. Something in you that used to check prices out of fear now checks them out of curiosity. 5 new credit cards in 24 months, and one of the largest banks in the world won't approve you for anything else. You learn this the hard way, denied on your 4th application, and you learn to slow down, to space them out, to treat the whole thing like a garden instead of a harvest.
3 months later, you're in a hostel in Lisbon when someone on the forum posts something that makes your stomach drop. The good way this time. A mistake fare. Business class to South America, $40, published for maybe an hour before someone at the airline notices and pulls it. Mistake fares get published for minutes, sometimes hours. Airlines are required to honor them. Most of the time they do anyway, because canceling thousands of tickets costs more in trust than it saves in money. You don't know that yet. You just know the clock is running. You book it with shaking hands from a hostel Wi-Fi connection that keeps dropping every 90 seconds. The confirmation loads. Then it doesn't. Then it does. Ticketed. You don't breathe right for an hour. 2 weeks later, the email you've been dreading since you left home finally arrives. Your father is in the hospital. You need to be home tomorrow, not next week, tomorrow. And a last-minute economy ticket costs more than you've spent on travel in the last 2 months combined. Your hands go cold the way they did on the curb in Chiang Mai, except this time you don't reach for your bank account first. You reach for your points. Business class seats are rarely sold at full price. Most of them fly empty, or they get filled with points that cost the airline almost nothing to give away. You transfer everything you've built over 6 months into one account, book a business class seat home for a fraction of what it's worth, and you're in the air 14 hours later. You land in time. Your father is stable. You sit by the hospital bed in clothes you haven't changed in 2 days, and you don't think about points once. Not until 3 weeks later, standing in a lounge at Heathrow on your way back out, on a ticket that cost you $11 in taxes and 6 months of learning a system nobody taught you. There's a kid at the next table, maybe 20, staring at his banking app the way you used to, checking it like the number might change if he looks hard enough. You sit down across from him without asking. He looks up, embarrassed, like you caught him doing something. You tell him the only thing that matters. You're not broke. You're paying retail. He doesn't understand it yet either. That's fine. Neither did you, 6 months and 1 napkin ago. Nobody starts this rich. They just start reading the rules. Everyone else was too tired, too broke, or too busy to open.
You order 2 coffees, one for you, one for him, because you remember what $14 and a curb in Chiang Mai felt like, and free coffee in a lounge is worth more to him right now than it will ever be to you. He asks how long it took. You tell him the truth. 6 months of instant noodles, 1 frozen card, 1 mistake fare with a Wi-Fi connection that kept dropping, and 1 flight home that mattered more than any of the free ones that came after it. The average traveler spends thousands of dollars a year in points they never redeem, sitting in accounts they forgot they opened, expiring quietly while they pay full price for the next trip anyway. The system was never hidden. It was just never explained. You write 3 words on a napkin from the lounge bar and slide it across the table the same way it was handed to you. Sign-up bonus. He looks at it like it's nothing. You used to look at it that way too. The gate for his flight opens behind him. Economy, back of the plane, the seat you used to sit in. He doesn't know yet that the seat isn't the point. The rules are. You watch him go, and you think about the version of you still sitting on that curb, checking a number that was never going to change on its own. And you realize the only thing that ever separated you from him was 6 months, 1 napkin, and the decision to stop paying retail.